Sit down. You look fine, just fine.
Thank you.
How's the family? Everybody sitting up and taking nourishment?
Uh-huh.
Good. What can I do for you? You don't need a doctor. I can tell that just looking at you.
I came here to talk to you about Jim.
How is he?
That's what I want to know.
I'm not his doctor anymore, you know. There's a new fellow in town, Dr. Morley.
What can you tell me about him?
I don't know. Nothing much. Came to Abbotsville about 2 months ago. Just about the time that Jim began to fail.
Where did he come from?
Some silver camp, I understand. The way these silver camps have been shutting down lately, this state is going to have almost as many unemployed doctors as it has miners. You know, Dr. Morley first set up practice here. I thought he was going to run me right out of business. Him being young, knowing all the new ways of doing things, somehow it hasn't worked out that way.
What do you mean?
Well, he kind of discourages folks from coming to see him. Talk has it that he has a private income, and he doesn't care whether he has any patients or not.
Except Jim, apparently.
Have you seen Jim? Is that what's bothering you?
Among other things.
Like what?
That I knew nothing about Jim's condition until Audra and I got here yesterday. Now, when was the last time you saw him?
Just before he and Eric went on that trip to Arizona.
How was he?
Fine, as far as I could tell. But that doesn't mean a thing. Jim was in Arizona almost a month. Anything could happen to a man in that time.
Doesn't it seem odd to you that this man Morley was called in after you had been Jim's doctor for years?
Not to me, it doesn't. I'm an old man, Victoria. And I haven't kept up with the latest developments of medicine. I don't make any bones about it. No. No, my feelings aren't hurt because Eric called in Morley. I think he did the right thing. I might have recommended the same thing myself.
I see. Well, I would like to ask a favor of you.
What's that?
That you see Jim before Audra and I leave here.
Now, what good will that do?
I don't know, but would you do it?
I can't, Victoria. Not without Morley's permission.
Amos.
And anyway, I'm supposed to be in Lake Junction
Amos,
today.
this is important.
All right. I'll discuss it when I get back.
No, that will be too late. Audra and I will be gone.
Well, Lake Junction isn't that far. I'll be back in a few hours.
That was the bridge out.
What bridge?
The Canyon Creek Bridge. Man flagged down the stage yesterday and said the bridge had collapsed.
The Canyon Creek Bridge isn't out. I came across it myself just
Amos,
yesterday
the man
evening.
stopped the stage and... Amos. Someone wanted to delay Audra and me in getting to Abbotsville. Or... perhaps they didn't want us to get here at all.
It kind of seemed that way, wouldn't it? Maybe I better take a look at Jim.
Good.
What time are you leaving?
We have to leave the ranch at 5 in order to catch the 7 o'clock train.
Uh-huh. Well, I have to make a call out that way later. I could be by Jim's about 4.
Thank you, Amos. Thank you very much. I was just on my way to your office. I've just had a talk with Amos Pierce.
Oh? About Jim?
Yes. I asked Amos to see him.
Did he agree?
Any objections?
No, I have no objections. But Dr. Morley will.
Dr. Morley is not in town, and I have no intentions of leaving here until I know more about Jim's condition than I do.
Dr. Morley told you.
He told us nothing.
Well, it's not my place to say anything in a case like this. If you want Amos Pierce to see Jim,
I do.
well, that's fine with me, Mrs. Barkley.
Eric?
Mrs. Barkley.
Mike's bringing the buggy around. He says you better leave now or you'll miss your train. I'll take your suitcases out.
I can't understand where Amos is. He said he'd be here before 5.
Mother, why don't we miss the wedding?
Oh, no, you can't do that. You're maid of honor. Harriet would be terribly disappointed.
Well, that can't be helped.
Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Now, you go on to San Francisco.
Mother,
now, hear me out. After the wedding, come right back here. You'll be gone less than 48 hours. And then we can stay on here as long as we want.
You'll be sure to send me a telegram after you've seen Uncle Jim.
It will be waiting for you when you get to San Francisco. Oh, those 2 bags will stay here.
You're not going?
Audra is, but I'm staying. Now, Audra, give Harriet my love and tell her how sorry I am.
I will. I'll be back Sunday.
All right. Have a good time.
Can I fix you a cup of tea, Mrs. Barkley?
No, thank you. I'm going to drive into Abbotsford.
Yes, ma'am?
I was looking for Dr. Pierce.
I guess you haven't heard.
Along with Jim Barkley, Amos Pierce was one of my father's oldest friends. And I've known Doc Pierce for as long as I can remember anybody. Mrs. Barkley, I am just as shocked by what's happened as you are. And if you're implying that I had anything to do with it,
I asked a question.
the answer is yes. Yes, it was a coincidence that this happened to Doc Pierce right after you asked him to see Jim. Such coincidences do occur. Mrs. Barkley, it's obvious that you don't trust me. Now, I don't know why.
I'm interested in my brother-in-law's welfare.
And his estate. Oh, come now, Mrs. Barkley, isn't that a fair question? After all, when Jim dies, you will be his sole beneficiary.
Well, I'm not exactly a poor relation who needs his money.
Oh, that's true.
Then what are you getting at?
Well, I'm trying to find out what it is that you suspect me of. The thing that comes to mind is that perhaps you think I am mismanaging Jim's financial affairs.
So?
So you've got an appointment with me for 9 o'clock tomorrow morning to receive a complete accounting of all my transactions with Jim.
I want to see Jim, not his ledgers.
I'll arrange for that at the same time.
All right, Eric. All right. But you and Dr. Morley had better not disappoint me this time. Because I'm going to see Jim before I leave here. Even if it means breaking down his door to do it. Eric?
Easy now, Mrs. Barker.
Oh.
Easy.
Eric, I went into his room.
I know. That's why we tried to convince you he was dangerous. Mike and Grace found you unconscious on the floor.
Where's Jim now?
He's gone.
Gone?
He ran away. Sheriff Clark and a posse are out looking for him now.
Oh, well,
You gotta rest, Mrs. Barker. You gotta rest. I want you to take this medicine. It'll help you to sleep. Dr. Morley prescribed this for Grace. It'll start working right away. What is it?
Your ring.
My ring.
It wasn't Jim. It was you. You! Run!